Your brothers are dead. Are you not ashamed?
What's going on, guys? This is Mr. DeLorean who went to a brand new video, and today what I want to do is break down the absolutely insane and mouth-dropping trailer we got for The Walking Dead Season 11, Episode 7. After last week's absolutely terrifying episode that mainly focused on horror and campiness, this episode seems to mainly focus on larger scales and progressing the war against the Reapers, with Maggie and Negan possibly leading a gigantic walker horde towards the Reaper community, aka Maggie's old community, Meridian, which the Reapers took over and everything is the main area that Maggie and, their entire group and everything has been working towards to get, because obviously that place is, stacked to the brim with food, which obviously could save Alexandria and everything since they're obviously going through a massive food crisis. But more on that later. Let's dive right into the trailer. First, let's start with Maggie and Negan's plot and everything, and their plan to defeat the Reapers using a gigantic walker horde. First, we begin with a shot of Negan, Gabriel, Maggie, Elijah, and some walkers tied up to trees, weirdly enough, which we did see the Reapers do with some walkers in episode 3 and everything, or episode 4, I think, where they tied walkers up to trees and everything. So I wonder if this is the Reapers doing or if this is our group's doing. But this is all after they obviously left the house and everything, because in the previous episode, Daryl and the Reapers and everything were searching houses and everything, and luckily Daryl helped Maggie and the rest get away by not revealing their location or anything. But weirdly enough is they are now standing around a grave, which this could be anyone and everything. This could be any of the 2 people that Maggie lost and everything in episode 3, I think, or this can maybe be Frost, since in the previous episode the Pope ended up killing Frost and everything, which is the person that Daryl was torturing in episode 6, which was a really sad death and everything, since obviously Daryl wanted to play the part and everything, and Frost played the part of Daryl not knowing who he was and everything and torturing him for information. But obviously Daryl never got to free him or get him away and everything, and the Pope ended up killing him for some more information. So maybe Daryl was able to give Maggie his body and everything, and maybe they buried him away from the Reapers, since obviously they probably want to have a private funeral away from them. Or this could be any of the previous people that got killed in Maggie's group in episode 3, maybe Duncan or the other lady. But during a weird conversation and everything, Negan does say there's less people and everything, less things to fight over and everything, and Maggie does say would you do things differently if you had another chance to do them differently, which is obviously referring to Negan's past and everything when he killed Glenn and Abraham and just everything he did in general. And Negan said he would do things differently and everything, which obviously can mean a huge amount of things. Would he not have killed Glenn and Abraham? Would he not have done the war? Would he not have even started the Saviors? Or there's just a ton of different interpretations that you can make, a ton of decisions that Negan has made. Would he not have made them if he had a chance to redo them? But it seems that Maggie and Negan will have more screen time and more time to shine and everything, and maybe have some more tension this episode. But this could also be during the funeral and everything, or after, or maybe during it, or the mini ceremony they had for the person that died. We do get to see another Reaper or anything, or Reaper standing at what looks to be maybe another grave with a knife, which maybe they lost a Reaper and everything, since during this trailer the Pope does mention that their brothers have fallen and everything, or they've lost someone. So maybe this Reaper's standing out in the grave or the foot of a grave of one of their brothers or fallen people. But we do get to see Gabriel and everything standing in some bushes, hiding and staring and looking down this Reaper and everything with a knife in his hand, which does make you wonder, will Gabriel make a really stupid decision, try to kill this Reaper and possibly get himself spotted or killed, which I really hope not. But obviously since Gabriel is usually have been a fit of rage during season 9 and 10 and now 11, I could see him definitely doing it and possibly getting himself killed, or maybe even successfully killing this Reaper stealthily. We do next get to see Maggie in a Whisperer mask, which we did get to see in the season 11 Comic-Con trailer, which does look really cool. But we get to see some walkers behind some barbed wire and anything, which we get to see during the funeral or ceremony thing. So would you wonder if this is a mini camp that they have and anything, where they're maybe getting Whisperer mask ready and everything to maybe go and lead the Horde all the way to the Reapers or to Meridian, which would be really cool. Maybe Negan will even get to show Maggie and the rest of them how to wear Whisperer mask and anything, move be on the walkers, which this next shot does further my whole theory on that and everything. So you get to see Maggie taking off a Whisperer mask while walking towards Elijah, so maybe she's getting trained by Negan and everything, which would be really cool to see Elijah in a Whisperer mask in my opinion and take down the Reapers, possibly one of his old groups, since a lot of people have been theorizing that Elijah's been a part of the Reapers. But in the last and final shot of the Negan and Maggie plotline and everything to take down the Reapers, we get to see Maggie in the middle of a huge walker horde, an absolute ocean of walkers walkers and everything. I'm assuming this is as like, they're leading the walkers and the Horde towards Meridian, towards the Reapers, like, new camp, which is gonna be really cool, especially to see like, Maggie and everything, and possibly even Negan in a Whisper mask again, which that'll be really cool in my opinion, to see Maggie in a Whispers like, mask, which we've seen her in like a bunch of shots already and everything, but it'll be really cool to see her leading a whole Horde. And maybe this is how they take down the Reapers and everything, although the Reapers are pretty like, they use military tactics and they're pretty smart, so I can see them getting rid of or getting away from these like, this Horde. But I guess we'll have to see how that plays out and everything. But this is a really cool concept of Maggie leading a Horde, and I wonder if we'll get to see any of the other people like, Elijah, Gabriel even in a Whisper mask and everything. Obviously Negan again in Whisper's mask, which would be really cool. Next, let's move on to the Daryl, the Pope, and the end of the Reapers, or the possible end of the Reapers. First, we get a shot of what I do believe is Frost being hung upside down and everything, like telling by kind of like in the glove on his hand, where you can see Daryl approaching him, or what yet again what I do believe is Frost, which would be like, really fucked up, since the Pope did kill him and did time to like, the back of a tree in the previous episode, episode 6, which like I said is something that the Reapers seem to do and everything, which is tie people like, their backs to the trees, because we get to see Daryl approaching something and looking at it, so maybe it's Frost being hung upside down or anything, or maybe this is him like, passing by him tied to a tree, or maybe this is just him like, looking at a Reaper. We get to see some Reapers entering Meridian and everything, or the community and everything where the Reapers are and everything. We do get to see some other like, Reapers closing a door to like a whole stash of food, which is obviously what Maggie, Negan, and the rest of the group are trying to get to feed Alexandria, so that's their like whole end goal and everything, or their whole end game is to get to the food and like, they bring it back to Alexandria. We get that shot again of Gabriel looking at the Reaper and everything, which yet again the Pope does mention throughout the trailer that their brothers have fallen, or that they lost some people, so this could be this Reaper standing at like, the foot of a grave of one of their fallen like, brothers or Reapers. Next, we see Leah and Daryl going through an abandoned building, or what I do believe is an abandoned building, I think possibly looking for someone or something, and maybe it is someone or anything, since we do see Leah like, kind of raise her gun at someone or anything, possibly to put them down, because she does have a pretty like, sad look on her face, so maybe this is her putting down one of like, the Reapers and everything after like, they've been bitten, or they've been like, killed, or maybe she sees one of them dead, since you get to see another one of the Reapers at like, a grave and everything, and this is like, maybe what the Pope means by like one of your brothers have fallen. Next, we get to see the Pope in the middle of like, the Reapers and anything, in front of Daryl and anything, giving like a Pope like, speech and everything, as the Pope would, in a very angry manner, going like, your brothers have fallen and everything. He does seem very angry. He's like, you should not be ashamed, and all this like, babbling stuff. I'm assuming this will be his like, call to war and everything, or like kind of a way of saying like, we will kill them all, and then kind of like, Negan did. But the next plot point is the Commonwealth possibly going to Alexandria. Eugene and will Tomi save Ezekiel, aka Yumago's brother? First, we go to outside the Commonwealth with Eugene, Ezekiel, and Princess, and maybe Yumiko also, with some Commonwealth soldiers clearing out like, this local area and anything of walkers, and like, taking them out and everything, and like, pulling them and burning them, which I'm assuming this is like, the Commonwealth maybe like, making Eugene pay for like, what he did in episode 5, I think, which was like, his crime of using like, government property or whatever and everything. So maybe this is like community service, since Lance Hornsby didn't like, intervene and like say don't lock them up. So maybe this is them doing like, community service by like, having to like take out and clean out walkers in local areas. We get to see Ezekiel collapse and everything, or not necessarily collapse, but notice his like, kind of cancer on the side of his like, neck, which yet again leads into the whole thing of this episode of maybe Tomi helping Ezekiel, because the next shot we do get to see a Commonwealth soldier pick up Tomi and everything, or grab him, which you might be wondering, how will Tomi help Ezekiel with like, his whole cancer thing? Well, in episode 5, Tomi did mention, or Yumiko did mention to Tomi while they were kind of like, catching up with each other, that Tomi is a doctor and everything, and that like, why would they bring that up unless it was to say that like it would mean something or some significance, and that significance might be to help Ezekiel with his whole like, cancer and everything, and help him beat it, which would be really cool. But Tomi did mention in like, that episode when Yumiko did mention that he was a doctor, that he said like, don't bring that up or anything, please quiet, don't like, blow this for me. So I do wonder why Tommy's so scared about the Commonwealth finding out that he's a doctor. Like maybe that it's because he likes baking so much and everything, but I don't know why that's such like a bad thing, because I'm pretty sure like, the Commonwealth need that, like that's a huge necessity in the apocalypse. And when you can see Yumiko in possibly the same setting and everything, maybe she's like, Tomi will look at her and say, what have you done or anything, after she's like, giving him up as a doctor. We do get to see a bloodied up Eugene in a jail cell and everything, or a cell in the Commonwealth, which this is maybe after his community service and everything, after he's been like, lifting up walkers all day and everything. He does look fairly pissed off, and maybe he's in like, a jail cell and everything after he's committed his crimes. So maybe it's like, public service and everything, and then back in a jail cell. Although we do get to see Eugene get a visit from Lance Hornsby and everything, so maybe this is to like, discuss terms terms, or maybe get more information out of him and anything about, like, you know, maybe Alexandria or something else, because we do get Lance Hornsby talking to Yumiko and everything while they're outside doing their community service and everything, and Yumiko's kind of in this, like, you know, lawyer or very professional suit attire, and Lance Hornsby does mention saying, like, your people need help and I can help deliver and everything, so maybe this is meaning, like, you know, going back to Alexandria with food, which would make sense and everything. It would be, like, you know, revealing the whole thing of, like, you know, the Commonwealth going towards Alexandria, which we do get to see some maybe nods to in the season 11 trailer of the Commonwealth possibly heading to Alexandria, which would be really cool, and I can't wait for that to happen, because it obviously will happen at some point. But that was the trailer for The Walking Dead season 11 episode 7 and everything. This trailer was really cool and shows, like, a huge development of what will be happening, like, you know, the further season 11, and the whole storyline with the Reapers, Maggie and Negan, the Commonwealth, and just, like, you know, what will happen, like, you know, what will go on with Maggie leading this massive horde towards, like, you know, the Reapers, aka Meridian, what will happen with Daryl during that situation or anything, like, you know, will he escape, will he have to kill Leah, the Pope, or will maybe the Reapers even make it into, like, you know, season 11 part 2, because keep in mind, we're on episode 7, after episode, like, you know, 8 and everything, that's The Walking Dead's a long break, so something does have to happen or anything of, like, a huge significance and everything at the end of episode 8 and everything, since that is the official end of, like, you know, season 11 part 1, so maybe, like, you know, end with, like, you know, the end of the Reapers, or a huge battle between, like, you know, our survivors and the Reapers, which we kind of did get a really, like, you know, really good tease of it and everything in episode 3, when a group kind of battled the Reapers and everything in the woods, but that was kind of a small battle. We'd like to see something of, like a larger scale, and also what will go on with the Commonwealth and everything of them, like, you know, finding out that Tommy's a doctor, him possibly helping Ezekiel, and just the Commonwealth going to Alexandria, which would be really cool for them to, like, you know, show up and everything, maybe at the last second to help, like, you know, the Alexandria against the Reapers, or to help them with their whole food crisis and everything, and just all of that in general. But that was my breakdown for The Walking Dead season 11 episode trailer and everything. Make sure to leave your thoughts down below and what you guys are most excited to see in the episode and everything, because I'm excited to see pretty much everything this episode has to offer, which is the whole situation with the Reapers, Maggie and Negan leading the Horde, and the Commonwealth possibly going to Alexandria, and, like, you know, just that whole situation in general. But yeah, make sure to leave your thoughts down below on all of that and everything, and make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more latest in the Walking Dead universe and everything. I'm going back to Florida soon, which I'm really excited for, so I can put out more videos and everything. So, because for the next few days, I'll be, like, you know, in a hotel and everything, then driving home, which I can't wait for and everything, so I can get to, like, you know, uploading more, because it's been really hard to record here in New York and everything up in my grandfather's attic, which doesn't really sound right. But yeah, that was all for today. Thanks to you guys later. Peace on my amigos, and peace out.